Hi, I'm Andy from Schatten und Elektronik GmbH. Peter has to do a bit more programming today, so I'm the one making the video about the beautiful 660 Scania. We all know it has a 16-liter engine. Compared to the 13-liter, it's always at an advantage because displacement is displacement. Especially in heavy-duty work or mountainous areas, a large displacement engine lets us drive dynamically through the mountains even when things get tougher. In terms of weight, the guys here, they transport wood pellets, they're also doing local deliveries, and they have to go through the Black Forest. So we need power. We're now going to take an initial measurement. Then there will be some data about the final measurement and the engine. Then we'll do an optimization with our Schaknat App within 3 minutes. After that, we'll take the final measurement and then we'll see each other later. We also have a first here because the customer actually has a prototype as a trailer. It's a pellet trailer with, what did he say, with a scale. And it also has a special air filter attached so he can operate it better. I'm not exactly familiar with the setup, but you can see it here. Double auxiliary drive, there's something interesting about that. We're going to secure the vehicle again down here. People often ask where we secure it down. Not up on the frame, but we want to secure the axle so we don't lose traction. Just put a strap in here like this. Of course, we make sure not to tear off any differential sensors or anything else when we pull down with 6 tons. So handle it with care accordingly. We'll see that in a moment during the initial measurement. We have it here, 3,300 Newton meters stock. That's already pretty hefty. When you brake, you can feel how it wants to break away. You've got it behind you, the truck is working, it wants to move forward, it goes right into the rollers. It's unbelievable. Every time it feels like I'm about to launch a fighter jet. We've already activated the test bench mode with the app. Of course, there are a lot of things you have to pay attention to when scanning. Retarder off, engine brake off, hold the traction control button for a long time so the test bench mode activates and everything is switched off. Then turn off these driving safety assistants and the air conditioning too because we want every bit of horsepower. Let's get started. Let's start manually in a lower gear. That's pretty cool. Especially when you shift gears manually and let the transmission do the work. A quick release of air, then the next gear is in. This works just great. Then do the next course as you have it. 1, 9, 10, aisle, let's do it right away. The test bench is still warm. We already had something going for us. An 1848 Actros, of course that can't be compared with the performance here. Now comes the 12th aisle. Now we have the 12th. Gear inside. Now we have 105, then 111, after that 120, followed by 130, and finally 145. Is it running now, or are we starting to notice a change in the pace? We are slowly and gradually slowing down, taking our time as we move. Of course, it is also not important to make jerky movements, as smooth and steady actions are always better for maintaining control and comfort. Then we adjust the direct gear. This is the 11th. Now the 5 notifications I always need are coming up. When those appear, we always get perfect measurements so that all the driving safety assistance systems are switched off. Now we're synchronizing the RPM in 11th gear. We're driving at 1,000 revolutions and telling the test bench. Now we just need to specify until when we want to measure. I want to measure up to 2,200 revolutions here, and the measurement for this vehicle should take 24 seconds. These are values you gain from experience, so you know that's where the measurement works best. All right, the gun is already warm. Perfect. So we have 780 revolutions. All right, let's start braking. So 300, 400, 500, 600, 800 Newton meters. I want 1200 and full throttle. Of course, always ready to shift into neutral at any time because what should you never do? Press the brake. If I press the brake here, then we'll have a 6th goal in the hall today. And I really don't feel like that, to be honest. So actually 90 kilometers per hour. Oh, it's already revving really well right out of the box. It's doing a good job. All right, 105. Now we've got 2,000 revolutions. Okay, 3, 2, 1, neutral. Keep your foot on the gas. Did you feel that little jolt? then we might need to measure a bit further out so it can disengage the clutch better, so that in the end, due to the drag torque, it doesn't pull the curve up with it. Otherwise, we'd have a faulty measurement. We'll see each other at the monitor soon. We've done the baseline power measurement. The DC16 engine is built like the 590 or 530 with the G33 transmission, so the TMS3 G33 also approved for up to 3,800 Newton meters. From Scania, we can therefore also go up to such a power level. We've now measured at the wheels, and of course that's something to mention. We also have power losses there. With the fan, which draws a bit of power, then we have the drive shaft, the joints, then the differential, and of course additional losses from the tires. We've now measured at the wheels, and that's actually always more interesting because here we're talking about whether you have a long drive shaft or an axle. Here we just have standard half shafts. For example, it can happen that with a 770, only about 580 horsepower actually reaches the wheels because of all the axles and the multiple joints, etc. and so on. There's just so much power loss, which in the end is also affected by temperature. If you take a look at this now at the diagram with the measuring tape, then here we have the peak torque at just under 1,250 revolutions, so at 1,250 RPM, we have 3,213 Newton meters, which means basically only 87 Newton meters are considered as losses compared to what Scania specifies. And at maximum power, we have just under 605 horsepower here at 1,800 RPM. And this is exactly what I always like to explain to truck drivers, because they say, well, it's only rated at 660 horsepower. Every AMG makes more than 660 horsepower. Yes, but no AMG has nearly 3,000 Newton meters at 1,200 RPM. And then to haul 40 tons up a hill reliably over 7,000 kilometers, or if you do it perfectly, even 1.5 million kilometers. That's exactly the difference. That's why we want to stay more in this range here. From 1,000 RPM up to a maximum of 1,400 RPM is where we actually want to drive. That means we want the transmission to shift earlier, to shift faster. This way we also save on revolutions because every revolution means friction. And the more friction we reduce, the more we also reduce wear. And the longer the engine lasts. All the bushings, the bearings, etc., the vibration and the heat, that's all stress, and we want to reduce that. If we can have more torque there and use that torque earlier. And by doing so, we also save on engine speed and filling because every revolution also means cylinder filling. We also save a tremendous amount. Fuel consumption, for example, when used in local transport or on construction sites, we can save almost 5 to 6 liters of fuel per 100 kilometers. If you also have a power takeoff, you basically write special software for it, which is also designed for the power takeoff when stationary. So I'm satisfied. Top input power. Now I'll bring the driver along and show me how the app works, so that he basically loses his fear. Because a lot of people say, oh, with the smartphone, I don't really trust myself to do that. But using it is actually very straightforward. We've designed it so every customer can use it because the app does everything automatically. You can't make mistakes, and I'll show you now. The Schaknat App. Normally, you get this from us by mail, or we visit as part of our field service and give a short training. Then you can open it here. And here with the QR code, if you scan it, you'll also reach our instructional videos, which our cameraman Rene from Media has edited well. Our adapter, that's what we'll use now. Andy, if you like, you can turn on the ignition as we need that for optimization. We've already done this before. So hello there, this is Andy from Remstall Pellets. We've known each other for quite a while. I think we once did an optimization for you in Ausland in the evening in the rain. You optimize. As a result, now he has a nice 660 Scania. You probably saw the inside footage too. Everything is spotless and clean. All right, you can plug it in. Exactly perfect, it's in place. What's important is that the blue light is blinking. You can check that on your phone. We're doing this with your phone after all.
Yes, exactly.
Right, the Schaknat App is always well hidden. So open Scania once, because we don't want to optimize a Mercedes here. And then you just press Open Settings. Then select OBD link once. It's up here. Watch the blue light. If it stops blinking and stays on continuously, then it's connected, of course. Do you see that here as well? The app is already fetching it automatically now. It retrieves the chassis number and certain keys that we need to store the correct data set. You can click on Schaknat at the top left. All right, now it's checking the EMS10 control unit and the EMS10 system. Great, we have the EMS10 control unit right here in this section. Let's go to engine. Great, what do you want? I don't think you want flash eco. Or, shall we try measuring flash power here? See what it does? All right, flash power optimization, let's run it once, perfect, great. When it's optimizing with Scania, that always takes about a minute. You're not a smoker, right? No, then you can have a beer instead. No, just kidding. That 1 minute, I can't make it. Now you can just set it down here comfortably. What's important, of course, when you're programming, yes, perfect. If it falls, I've got it. When you're programming, it's really important not to turn off the ignition, don't unplug the adapter, and don't walk away with your phone. Unless it starts to catch fire. I don't know why. You guys deal with a lot of dust, but it doesn't burn. How many kilometers do you drive in a week?
Yeah, it's about 1,500.
1,500 kilometers. What kind of jobs do you have?
Well, we actually drive during the day, but it's pretty extensive, like all the way to the Black Forest and so on. Yeah, and we deliver directly to end customers, basically delivering the pellets.
Yeah, exactly. And how did you end up with the 660 Scania? Did you just say you wanted one of those, or what?
I've always been personally convinced by Scania.
Yeah.
And yeah, at some point in time, my boss mentioned, all right, let us take a look at it. Then he said, man, you're a good guy. Let's get one. I'm lucky to have a fantastic and supportive boss who always supports this.
Michael, right?
Michael, exactly. I mean, honestly, you just have to say he's a really great boss, you know, I guess, you know what I mean?
It works when the work environment is good.
Of course.
You mentioned that you and your friends like to have a drink together in the evenings. Beer, specifically. Yeah, look here, the green check mark. It even matches the color, just as you said. We've already finished and optimized the engine. Now the transmission still needs to be done. Of course, we still have certain functions here. No problem. We'll just go back here. Click on Scania again. It's still connected. You don't have to do anything. Let's just go to Schaknat up there on the left. Yeah, it'll pull all the data we need again. Let's go to the transmission again. Exactly. Now you have the option here to either optimize the transmission for power, reset the transmission to its original state, like if you're going to the workshop, for example, or whatever else you want to do. Transmission Power Plus would simply make it much stronger at low revs. The transmission has been tuned again, and Transmission Eco, of course, means it shifts as early as possible to reduce fuel consumption. It's also possible, since this question comes up more and more often, you can run the engine in power mode and the transmission in eco mode. You can decide for yourself what works best for you. And if it doesn't fit, we can always provide a customized software version. That means you call us up and say, hey, I'd like a little adjustment here and there. Something changed. Would that be possible? Since we're at the test bench, I suggest we go with Transmission Power Plus. We'll have more power, fire in the car. And does it go super fast? Exactly. I always say, and it's really true from experience, if you're a good truck driver, someone who makes sure to stay in the higher gears and doesn't let your ego take over when going uphill, and then you try to pass everyone on the left and not let anyone overtake you, but instead use the power to stay in 11th gear for a long time, and 12th. If you stay in that gear, then in Power Plus mode from the transmission, you have the option or the transmission set to power. This lets us save the most fuel, especially in local transport. In the Black Forest with tight curves, then uphill, you need power, and you have to quickly pass a tractor too. That just makes things easier. All right, errors. Of course, you can also read them out. But now we're already doing the initial measurement, and then that's it. You saw it. How do you find using the app?
It's relatively easy, so you really can't do anything wrong. It's actually self-explanatory. It's really great, actually.
Have you used the app often already?
Yes, we've already tried it out a bit. Transmission in different levels. So we played around with it a bit and already noticed that the fuel consumption has gone down.
How much has it gone down for you?
About 2 to 3 liters, more or less. We were just experimenting a little bit with it, you know. But honestly, it's actually really easy to do.
Perfect. It was already optimized. Today we just wanted to put it on the test bench. Great, then we'll turn off the ignition and then I'll pull out the dongle. And you can hop into the passenger seat and experience it for yourself. Congratulations. Now you have at the wheel 3,600 Newton meters and 748 horsepower. We can click on it now. With wheel torque, it's always tricky. So here, 748 horsepower. Where was it? Here. At just under 1,800 revolutions. And now we have a maximum torque here of 3,600 Newton meters. That's 370 Newton meters more than the original. A good diesel Golf, which now can even pull mountains on top of that. That's one way to look at it. And above all, it's a nice amount of power. And especially because now it's easier to accelerate out of the mountains. Bam, next gear, engaged. That's why you also save on fuel consumption, so to speak. Did you enjoy being at the vocational stand? It was something different for a change, right? Yeah, it was. Your boss said he wants to come again with the 77. I'm curious about that. He will come, then we'll do something really special. In this sense, 370 Newton meters more and 132 horsepower. And all that with one click in 2 minutes. If you're interested in being able to do this yourself with your phone, no matter where you are. We even have customers in Martinique, Australia, Russia. Then write to us, we'll send it to you at www.schaknat.de. Or you can also write to us on WhatsApp. You can find the number everywhere on Instagram as well. Peter Schatten, my boss, the Scania expert, will personally advise you. And then we'll get together. With that, have a nice evening.